Hello, my name is Tanya Phillips. I'm a student with the University of New England. Today's presentation is on the critical assessment of PRECEDE model for the program planning and evaluation for diabetes intervention. Today's presentation will provide a short description of the PRECEDE model, how the model was used in Wilcox County diabetes intervention, pros and cons of the model, lessons learned, and if I were to do this assignment again, what would I do differently? PRECEDE is a formal model that sets up a community to successfully plan and evaluate different health interventions. The PRECEDE phase is about creating a foundation of information in order to clearly assess what is influencing health outcomes, what the gaps are, and goals and objectives to select interventions. The PRECEDE stage has 3 phases that include the selection and implementation of the intervention, and also is the main part where the evaluation of the process, the intervention, and the goals occur. This model was used to assess diabetes in Wilcox County with the Alabama State Public Health goal to increase the percentage of people with diabetes completing daily cell, foot, and blood pressure checks. Once the assessment was completed, it was identified that Wilcox County has a 66% higher prevalence rate of diabetes than the state of Alabama. Also, African Americans were disproportionately affected by diabetes in Alabama, and there wasn't any diabetes self-management education programs available in Wilcox County. Not having adequate self-management resources creates barriers for medical professionals to refer clients to these resources, which would further the client's knowledge and help them gain efficacy to perform self-monitoring checks that included daily foot and blood pressure checks. The assessment also identified that 61% of the community identified themselves as being religiously active, making the churches an important focal point for the community to implement or be part of a diabetes self-management education intervention. The American Diabetes Association has a specific curriculum called Project Power that is culturally appropriate and faith-based specifically for African Americans. This is the diabetes self-management education that was identified as the intervention to be implemented in Wilcox County among the Black Protestant churches. An evaluation plan was also developed using the PRECEDE phase. The pros of the model are that it's an easy model to follow that allows for flexibility depending on the community need. It utilizes an algorithm that provides a visual of how the model logically flows from the assessment phases to the evaluation phases. The PRECEDE stage is heavily focused on community data and community input as it prepares the community to select appropriate interventions to implement. The cons of this model are that to fully implement the PRECEDE phase with the community's input involvement, it would be incredibly time intensive. To develop and gather and assess all of the data in the assessment phase would require a lot of time, as mentioned, and would possibly require specific job skills. Also, the model does not directly provide a detailed plan for the implementation or what we would call a work plan, nor does it provide a detailed plan for the monitoring and evaluation of the different metrics. I gained further knowledge of this model as a tool to develop logic models, work plans, and more importantly, how to build an evaluation plan. This is an easy framework to follow that will allow me to implement into my daily public health work. Overall, as it applies to this specific project, I found it difficult to gather information directly from the community, and there was a lack of subject matter experts coming from the community. Also, Wilcox County is the poorest county in the nation and has many poor health outcomes. The social determinants of health need to be addressed in this county, along with addressing social and health equity. If I had the opportunity to create this work again, having more time and resources, I would want to involve the community in the process. One way that this could be accomplished is through surveys, focus groups, and individual interviews to assess the community's opinions on what is influencing their health, both successes and barriers, and what resources or interventions are needed. In conclusion, the PRECEDE model is meant to be a community-based model, promoting community involvement. The model is also based on having sufficient data to identify and develop interventions to create change with the goal of improving the overall health of the identified population. Also, this particular model is meant to be a continuous process that involves evaluation looking at the process, evaluating the interventions that are impacting the objectives and the overall goals. Here are my resources. Thank you.